We will keep you muted just so that there aren't any background noises. The presentation will start very soon. If you have any questions, there is a chat box at the bottom right-hand corner. What I would suggest doing, though, is keep the questions to the end rather than putting them in halfway through, just in case Tim covers it at a later date. So just make a mental note of any questions, and then what we'll do is have a Q&A at the end. So without further ado, let me hand you over to Tim, and away you go, Tim.
Richard, thank you so very, very much for the humble introduction, and good evening, everybody. And again, to echo Richard's comments, thank you so much for dialing in this evening. I know this is personal time and taking your time away from your families and your dinners, but we're looking forward to be able to share our beautiful project with you and some of the things that we're doing in Lombok. So thank you again for joining, and I think Richard will kick off if you could move the slides for me. I'm not going to dwell too much on this slide, everybody, but we're going to cover a number of things. We're going to talk a little bit about us as a company, who Celo are, some of our background and pedigree. We're going to talk primarily about Selong Selo, which is in Selong Balanak Beach in Lombok, and about some of the property development and investment opportunities that we have on this project in particular today. We'll talk a little bit about the technicalities of owning and investing in property in Indonesia, but I'm sure there'll be many questions around that, and post the event, Richard and even necessarily myself are very happy to deal with some of those more detailed questions for you. But at the end of the day, we want to give you an overview of who we are, what we are, and try to share with you some of the beautiful properties and opportunities that we have in Selong Selo. Next, Richard. So just carry on. A little bit about us. We're a boutique developer. We started off in 2009 here in Lombok by acquiring land bank with a couple of Australian entrepreneurs. And really the property here grew a little bit organically, with a number of investors coming into our company that were investing in land, and a number of them just literally decided to build. And all of a sudden we ended up with a resort with 60 villas that you'll see shortly. Our focus is on building an integrated destination and have an integrated service for our buyers and our investors. So it's a fully managed real estate development, but also a fully managed hospitality hotel development as well. So we work very closely with our owners and our investors that are coming into our business to help them either develop one of our off-plan properties, or to work with them and their families to custom design a bespoke villa, as we call them. And we handle end to end, so we do everything from design, construction, development management, property management, right through to hospitality management as well. We have a large team based here in Indonesia. We are a Singapore-based company, so all of our companies are Singapore-based, but our corporate back office is based up in KL. So we're sort of ASEAN global, if you know what I mean, in terms of the way that we operate. Next slide, Richard, please. So I'm not going to go through lots of text here because the presentation is extremely pictorial, but you'll be able to see some of the stunning images that we have of the existing property. So we're in South Lombok, overlook Selong Balanak Beach. We're just over 200 meters above sea level, which gives amazing views, as you'll see from some of the presentations a little bit later. We have almost 58 villas we will have here upon completion. There's 42 villas completed at the moment. The remaining villas will be completed in the course of the next 12 months. And the picture you see there on the right are some of the villas nestling on the hillside that you can see. The resort benefits from its height through not only views over the beautiful seascape and landscape of South Lombok, but also from an a really, really extraordinary climate. Even in the height of the summer, we get beautiful, cool onshore breezes, which keeps the resort extremely comfortable for everybody. Next slide, please, Richard. I'm just going to show you here a little video, which will give you a little bit more sort of understanding of the experiences we create here on the property. So, Richard, you need to press the big arrow.
Yep, trying to. Okay, let me just see if this will work.
Not working?
Wouldn't you know it? It was working earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We tested it out and it was working.
Isn't that weird? Okay, maybe we can come back to that, Richard, and
yes,
we can show the video at the end separately. Yeah.
Yeah.
From the link. Yeah. So we'll do that later. Yeah. So moving on. I mean, again, this is really just an experience shot to give everybody an understanding of the experiences that we look to create for all of our investors. Next slide. So in terms of a location, this just gives you a little bit of destination information. So if we look at the slide on the right, you can see the main resort, which covers nearly 18 hectares of the hillside. The main Selling Cellar resort is built on 12 hectares of that 18. The remainder remains underdeveloped, and we're talking about a little project that we've got on some of that land as part of this presentation later. As we roll down the hill, you can see the beach there, and you'll see a little icon down below where we have a beach club. So in 2024, we're starting to develop a beach club. That will be a sort of a full service restaurant, bar, beach club experience, together with a number of 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom hotel villas, which will be launched during the first quarter of next year. We're not going to be talking about this today, but the resorts will be integrated together, and there'll be a lot of shared service experience. In terms of accessibility, just like Bali, extremely accessible from Singapore. Lombok benefits from great accessibility from Singapore with direct flights from Scoot 4 times a week, which is really good. Other direct flights come in from Kuala Lumpur, and obviously it's extremely accessible from Bali, from Jakarta, and from Surabaya. So it's pretty well located, and very similar to Bali in terms of flight times from Singapore. Next slide, please, Richard. I mean, a quick summary of some of the things that we've got. And one of the unique things about the property, and you'll probably hear me mention it a few times during the presentation, if we look at a lot of the real estate developments in Lombok, they're very much under development. They're stunning properties, but very much under development. We have the benefit of being the first property that was launched here back in 2012, and we've actually completed, as I said, more than 40 villas with a view, with nearly 60 complete by the end of next year, meaning that we're fully operational. So that gives buyers tremendous amount of advantage. That you'll be able, you're not going to be buying into a building site. Whether you buy an existing villa or decide to buy some land and choose to develop a villa, that villa can immediately, upon completion, be part of the community. But more than that, as a buyer, you're able to use the resort during the construction, and you'll be able to come and stay with us and get the benefits of being an owner, even though your villa's not completed. So as I said, we've got 58 privately owned luxury pool villas, which range from 1-bedroom villas right up to 7 bedrooms. We have 3 major 7-bedroom villas. The bulk of the villas that we have in the resort are 2 bedrooms. We'll have 26 of those when it's fully completed. We're fully managed, so we provide full management services to our owners with flexible usage rights for owners. So some of our owners choose to have the villa solely for them. Some choose to only use it for a certain number of weeks per year, and on an annualized basis during different years, choose to use select different usage patterns. Depends on their personal requirements on an annualized basis. 30 minutes from the airport. The main beach is literally 15 minutes drive away. We have direct access from the beach from the bottom of the resort, or we can drive out through the village. We have an amazing bar and restaurant which overlooks the beach. We have our own resort pool, of course, but all of the villas have got beautiful, beautiful pools. And most of our investors and owners tend to like to hang around in their own pool rather than use the central pool. We have a growing wellness facility. We've got a personal spa service. We've got a great fitness area. We've got tennis courts, mountain bike trails, walking trails, which traverse the whole of the property. And we're building and developing our wellness through a strategic partnership, which will launch next year, to create a broader, more destination wellness facility, which will drive residential stays as well, which will obviously begin to contribute more significantly to the owners' returns if they lease their villa back into the management pool. We're very much a family resort because our villas are big, so the kids club is extremely important to us, and we focus on, because we've got larger villas, the usage tends to be multi-generational, but we do have a tremendous amount of family usage here. Professionally managed in terms of security and back-end services for all of our investors and owners is really, really important for us. And as I said, we've got a private beach club which will be available for investors and owners during the first half of next year, which will then develop. Richard, again, just some pictures of what you see in the top picture is the restaurant lawn. It's an event lawn, and very, very popular for weddings. A great wedding venue, but also a great place for kids to run around and play while the parents are enjoying time in the restaurant. So why Indonesia? So Richard talked a little bit about Indonesia and the advantages, and obviously for you guys who are based in Singapore, you're going to be very familiar with a lot of this stuff. But obviously it's Southeast Asia's largest economy, and it's on track to be the 5th largest economy by 2030 in the world. The government itself is really, really proactive at the moment in terms of tourism development, and much of Lombok, South Lombok anyway, is under the auspices of ITTC, the Indonesian Tourism Development Company, which is the government body that developed Nusa Dua in Bali, and they've invested heavily in tourism infrastructure here, and it's continuing to invest and develop, which is extremely beneficial for us. I mean, they see Lombok 100% as the next Bali, and providing a great alternative option, given the compaction that we're seeing in Bali at the moment. We know about the large population, but the other good thing we're seeing here from a usage perspective is we're beginning to see the domestic market grow. We have a massive population, but typically the Indonesians didn't travel on tourism in Indonesia, yeah? But post-COVID, we're seeing that change significantly. And we've actually just experienced our first Indonesian buyers into the property as well. Next slide. So why Lombok in general? I mean, obviously the closest neighbor to Bali. And as I said just now, it's been identified by the government as one of their major tourism growth areas. One of the fastest growing tourism destinations here. New international airport that is growing rapidly. Current direct flights, as I said just now, from Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, which will be starting again in the first quarter of next year. We've got pipeline flights coming in from the Middle East, planned for during next year. They just have not announced the final dates yet. And then obviously the connectivity with Bali. We've got 18 flights a day coming in from Bali, so it's a great two-center holiday destination. But a lot of our guests actually do travel in here from the Bali Gateway, but also from Jakarta and in some cases Surabaya. Government is really committed, not just to tourism but infrastructure as well. And one of the big benefits we've got here is they're small, but the quality of roads, power is excellent. Internet quality is excellent, and we have many of our owners that spend long time, many months of the year here, working here, working from home out of their villas here, and still being able to communicate internationally with the internet here with little problems. And we're beginning to see the growth of international traffic coming in from the port and the marinas in southern Lombok as well. So it's a really positive spin. There's still some way to go, and which is I also think, and we believe, is extremely positive, because we're starting from a low base. So the accretive values, the increasing values on land and property are growing greatly, but they're growing from a much lower base when you compare it to Bali as well. Next slide. Just a few more key points on Lombok, and again, I'm not going to dwell too much on this, but obviously Indonesia is a strong hub for foreign investment, and we're seeing a lot of that coming into the Lombok region. In terms of the beaches and the destination itself, I think it goes without saying, the pictures tell 1,000 stories, even compared to Bali. I mean, you've got some of the best beaches in the world, and Selambalanak Beach, the one that we overlook, is noted in many travel trade channels as being one of the best beaches in the world for many reasons, not just the white sand, but it's extremely flat, very safe, and it's a great family beach, right? Tourism is booming here. Accessibility is growing and being enhanced every day. We've got a rising demand for amenities. We're seeing so many new entertainment-based destinations, whether it be lifestyle activities around Mount Rinjani, whether it be sporting-based activities, incentives, and other types of events, as well as general tourism-based activities. Right. Affordability is is one of the main drivers for people investing into Lombok as an island. And as I said just now, because Lombok is actually starting from such a lower base than we have in Bali, but growing quickly, it's the ideal time to get in, right? So it's extremely affordable when you compare it to Bali to get into the real estate market in Lombok. And again, development momentum. I mean, we're seeing so much going on here now. It's extremely exciting, and lots of new projects being launched from both a real estate perspective, as well as some major hotel developers coming here within the Mandalika area through the ITDC development. So South Lombok. So if you could just go back one, Richard. So just quickly on South Lombok specifically, we talked about the Mandalika investment. The first project to complete was the international race circuit, which you can see on the bottom right there. They have 18 events there calendared on an annual basis, and that's growing, which culminates with the major Superbike event in the second week of October, which is on the World Tour Superbike Tour. So it's like the Grand Prix circuit of superbikes, of motorbike racing, sorry. So that's and then around that you've got major resort development. We are 35 minutes drive away from the circuit and the main part of Kuta. The beach you see on the left is our beach, right? So you can see extremely it's so difficult to describe, because it's just one of the perfect beaches, because it's totally flat. You have no rip. You get beautiful waves for beginner surfers and bodyboarding and playing in the water. But it's a great walking beach, and it's a great activity beach. Yeah, and our beach club land is literally on the right side of the beach, halfway down the picture you see just there. Again, I'm not going to dwell on this slide. We've talked about this, but this is just a moody shot of the beach from the western side of the property after sunset, and you can see all the fishing boats out there. It's just a nice emotional shot of the beach at night. Next slide. And again, this is a moody picture from the upper level of the resort, looking back down onto the beach. All of the villas enjoy this view. Every building plot that we have is orientated into this direction. So just going to talk a little bit, very quickly, about some of the villas that we've built, so you can have a look at those. So Richard, if you could just scroll through quickly. This is one of our bigger villas. This is the villa, our premium villa, which is up on the top. It's a major 5-bedroom villa, very popular for multi-generational family stays, long stays, international travelers. Extremely popular villa. Next, just a few interior shots. This one's fully fitted, fully furnished. It's even got its own gym, and we use this as a wellness destination villa as well. So it's very productive for the owner in terms of usage and investment returns. Next. This is just one of our 4-bedroom villas. Next. You can see a lot of the larger villas have family rooms. So top left is a bunk room. So because of the family usage, the multi-generational, we most of our owners really enjoy having this type of facility, and it allows us to position into the sales market, not the real estate sales market, but the hospitality sales market, driving multi-generational longer stays for families, and groups of friends getting together to share one villa. Next. Again, this is one of our 3-bedroom villas, which is up on one of the very high points of the resort. Next. Next. This is also a 3-bedroom villa. One of our most popular villas. It's lots of outdoor entertaining space. Guests love to come here and stay, as do the owners. They entertain a lot in the pavilion. It's got its own built-in outdoor kitchen, so it's a great entertainment villa. Next. Carry on, Richard, please. This is one of our most popular villas. Actually, it's a 3-bedroom. Well, it's actually a 2 main bedroom villa, but 1 studio room down below the villa. It's on the highest peak of the property. It's amazing views, and the owner is actually just selling this villa. So this villa is for sale. Should anybody be interested in an existing villa and getting into the resort so much quicker. Next. Next one. Again, this is another one of our smaller villas. So it's a 3-bedroom villa, but again, 2 bedrooms plus a family room. And these are all privately owned. So yeah, so that's just a snapshot. And then this picture here down below just shows you the organic nature, the way that we build and develop. We don't cut out major parts of the land. We place and develop and design all of the villas individually to sit naturally in the land and allow the natural landscape to sort of evolve and develop around the villa. So what do we have available? What do we sort of want to talk to you about tonight? So I think the first thing, and as I said earlier on, I would say this a lot. I mean, one of the big benefits of Selong Silo is that we're fully operational, ready to go. Anybody coming into the property, even if their villa's not ready, gets treated as an owner and gets the benefit of certainly a lot of the owner's usage rights during the development period. We've only got 11 prime lots for sale, which will complete out the main resort. So there's limited opportunity to get into the resort up on the top end, and we'll look at the master plan a little bit later. Yeah. We've got a selection of completed 2 and 3 bedroom villas for sale. I showed you one of them just now, and we'll have a look at a couple of others in a minute. And certainly these are owners that built their villas back 5 or 6 years ago. Traditionally all expatriates based in Singapore, Hong Kong, and in Asia, but their circumstances have changed. They've moved back overseas. Families have moved post-COVID, so they've decided to sell their villas. So there is a limited number of those for sale. And we have a small boutique development, which we call luxury surf villas, which are turnkey land and villa packages. And these are smaller studio 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom villas. The pricing is extremely attractive, and they are sort of set up as sort of investment villas from a hotel, more of a hotel villa perspective. So we'll show you a little bit more detail about those in a second. Next. So just a quick summary, and there's always a lot of questions on this, and this is something that Richard and the team, or myself personally, or my team can talk to everybody about. But essentially, we sell land to our owners. I mean, even though as a foreign owner, there's a leasehold overlay on it, but each of our owners actually owns the title through their own local PMA company here. So there's and every new purchase you get a full 80-year clean leasehold. It's 100% foreign ownership, as we know. I mean, it's pretty much there is no different to owning here or as in Bali. So it's a fairly standard in Indonesia. Land price increase is quite incredible at the moment, and again, largely because of the low base, because Lombok has been very much in growth mode. So it's a real opportunity at the moment, and land prices, certainly on turnkey projects like ours, are growing, around about 20% annually, which is extremely lucrative. So it's a good time to get in there today. Okay. And as I've said many times during this discussion, it's a turnkey investment in a fully operational resort. Enjoy the benefits of being part of that resort during a development period, buy an existing villa. And because we are fully integrated and have worked with all of our owners, we offer an absolute turnkey service. So we make it very easy to acquire, to design, to develop, and help you manage all the legalities of as a foreigner owning a property in Indonesia. Okay, so I'm sorry, guys, this is a bit small, but obviously Richard and the team can share this with you a little bit later, but this is the resort master plan. So so on the left here, we've got just a quick summary of the current lots that we have for sale. So if we have a look at the master plan, the lots numbers are on there, and the ones with the red borders are the lots that we have for sale up on the main resort. Yeah. So those are currently available for sale. Everything else is sold and pretty much developed. The ones with the yellow borders are the resale villas. Yeah. Again, we have detailed brochures on each of the resale villas, and happy to have individual conversations with you on those opportunities. Yeah. So the luxury surf villa, sorry, if you could go back one, Richard, just very quickly. So down on the bottom left quartile here, you can see the smaller boxes. Those are the luxury surf villas, and we're only selling the ones that are currently highlighted in red. And then we're going to bring them up into the main resort. The remaining development is going to be on hold, with us focusing on building out the beach club and the beach club villas in the next phase. So if you could go to the next slide, Richard, please. Yeah. So we have 3 different types of luxury surf villas. There's a studio, which is 80 square meters. There's a 1 bedroom, which is actually 88 square meters, and a 2 bedroom, which is 135 square meter. Fully turnkey, ready to come and sleep in it. So it includes everything to be able to use, let, or enjoy living in the villa. Okay. And they're extremely attractively priced. So from 239,000 for the studio up to $388,000 US, including land and the villa. And for these villas, we've got 6% guaranteed yield for 2 years, and we do offer vendor financing payment options for up to 2 years on these villas. So it's certainly one option. Depends on the sort of investment criteria that everybody has and what they're looking to do and how they're looking to sort of get into property in Indonesia. Again, we've got a lot more detail on this, and Richard and the team will be able to share this with you during your individual follow-up discussions. Next slide. So this just really summarizes very quickly the villas that are completed for sale. Richard, just scroll through. So we have Villa Serasi 10B, which is a 3-bedroom villa. Villa Dewan, which we showed you just now, which is it's 3 bedrooms, 2+1. And these are all priced from around about $675,000 turnkey up to $895,000 fully completed, ready to move into villas. Villa Sky is an amazing property that sits almost right up on the top of the land. You can see on the right side there, that's on the roof of the property. So I mean, it's got the most commanding views over Selam Balanat Beach. It's actually a beautiful villa, very al fresco, outdoor living, 3 beautiful bedrooms. So just a few seconds on land ownership in Indonesia, which I'm sure a lot of you may be aware of. So we've talked about it a little bit during the presentation, but 100% foreign ownership is permitted in Indonesia via a secure 80-year perpetual leasehold. We operate, as I said, we sell land. We don't do leasehold on top of leasehold. So basically, you get a clean leasehold, 80-year leasehold through a PTPMA structure. Obviously, Indonesian citizens are able to buy Hak Malik, which Hak Malik is essential freehold title here. So we have, as I said, a number of Indonesian owners now coming in and owning the freehold land titles. The 80 years Hagabi HGB title comes clean 80 years with 30-year, an initial 30-year and extensions for 20 and 30 years. Yeah, and then from a banking and finance perspective, on the 80-year. Because of the 80-year clean title, banks and financial institutions tend to accept this land as a land for mortgage and securitization purposes, because essentially it's covered from a foreign investment perspective, almost like a freehold. So when it comes to valuation, because of the 80-year leasehold, it's recognized as a freehold, and it's certainly easier to be able to raise finance on existing villas. It's not a common thing. A lot of owners don't raise finance on it, but it is something that we're seeing more and more of, particularly with the Indonesian owners. Yeah. So there's millions of people that we know that have invested in Indonesia and Bali, and everybody always believes it's actually complex. It is on the face of it, but if you invest with an experienced developer that can guide you through the process and make sure that you've got the right notaries and the right support for you, it's actually quite a simple and easy process to get into. So what do we do? Where do we go next? How do we get you to the property? For me, it's all about you got to come over here and see it, to experience it, to buy it at the end of the day. So what we'd love to do is invite all of you over to come and stay. We've put a preview package together, which it gives a 50% discount on usage to be able to come over and visit the property, come and stay with us, come and enjoy the experience, come and meet the team. And of course, if you choose to buy, we will refund the cost of your holiday. You know, from the deposit. But this is a great way to come and experience it, and probably the only way to see. And I know Richard wants to come across and do some preview weekends and some preview trips over the coming weeks and months. So I mean, we'd love to see you and invite you to come and experience everything in Selong-Selo. And I think we've touched on this a few times, so I'm not going to dwell too much on it. But we've got good flight access from Singapore through Scoot, which is proving extremely popular. And Singapore is one of our #1 gateways now. Bali's still #1, but Singapore is growing. In fact, we've got direct flights in there, so it's extremely easy to get to. And then finally, Richard, if you could go to the last slide. We have a very strong relationship with a wonderful company called Third Home. Third Home is one of the largest global home exchange companies in the world. They've got more than 14,000 luxury homes which they manage around the world, all private homes with values in excess of $750,000 and up, and some multi-million-dollar homes. So we work with Third Home, and Third Home work with us to offer all of our investors and our owners membership of Third Home. So it means that you can essentially choose at any period to bank some of your weeks or some of the usage that you have here in your home into Third Home, and be able to travel the world and stay in some most amazing places. We have many owners that bank 1 month and then go skiing in Lake Tahoe over Christmas and New Year, or go down to Switzerland skiing, or take multi-generational families to Disneyland for 2 weeks, go to the Mediterranean, go to the Caribbean on cruises, all by just banking their usage weeks that they have in the home that they own here, into the Third Home membership. So it's an extremely flexible way for you to really leverage off your investment here, and really open up many doors for you to travel to some amazing destinations around the world. So, and again, happy to share more details with this, and as part of the process of investment in Selong-Selo, we would introduce you to the Third Home people, and they would actually make a separate presentation to you and really explain to you all of the wonderful benefits of becoming a partner with Third Home. That's me. I've talked way too much tonight, and but there's a lot to share. Love to answer any questions if there's any.
I think, Tim, thank you very much for a very comprehensive overview to the resort and Lombok and what's going on there. Perhaps whilst people are thinking about questions, just to remind people, there is a chat box in the bottom right-hand corner that you can start putting your questions into, and we'll be delighted to answer those in just a moment. I'm going to see if I can get this video done just as a sort of a wrap-up of the presentation. Again, a picture says 1,000 words, and you've seen some gorgeous pictures, but the video perhaps brings it all together as well. So just bear with me one moment, and we'll see if we can get the video going. So just start putting your questions into the chat box, and I'll be with you in just one moment, hopefully with a video.
Maybe just share it from the...
I've actually, let's see, I think I've got it here, Tim. Here we go. Let me just check. I've got that. Okay. Okay, let me see.
So just go to full screen, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Just bear with me one moment, and we'll see if we've got questions coming into the chat box. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Okay. I haven't vetted these questions, so I hope they're all good and clean. All right. So Udaya, talk about the land options that mentioned available and how investing into those plots work. So it sounds like, if somebody is investing into a specific land parcel, how would you go about buying that, and how does the buying process work?
It's actually quite simple. I mean, the first thing is obviously we enter into a standard sell and purchase agreement, and we work side by side. We secure the land for the owner first, obviously, so the investor buys the land, and then side by side we enter into what we call a master development agreement. So as an investor, you get sort of an option to actually custom design a home, or to take one of our pre-designed homes. We have multiple homes, villas, or pre-designed. So you would secure the land first, and at the same time, side by side, sign a master development agreement, which is actually for a custom off-plan home or a custom home. The purchase process is quite simple. We then worked with you and help you set up your local entity, your PMA, your PTPMA. The land is then literally owned by that PTPMA. You're a director of that company that owns that land. It's actually quite a simple process and managed by us through independent notaries, which are mostly out of Bali, or it's entirely up to the investor. We've had some owners that have got multiple other Indonesian investments, and they've already got PMA set up, and the land is purchased and injected into an existing PMA, or they use their own notaries and lawyers mostly in Bali to help manage the situation. So we handhold everybody through that. We have our own legal team here on resort, plus we have legal consultants and notaries and tax specialists that work for our existing owners, investors, all based in Bali, to advise you on all the best options, subject to your individual circumstances, of setting up your ownership company here.
Thanks there, Tim. And in terms of villa design and options, maybe you can just expand a little bit on that, if you don't mind.
Well, we're quite flexible, right? So we would look at when somebody's interested in a piece of land, we would talk to the investor about the style, the shape, and the size of the land, and we work together to figure out what they need, what their desire is in terms of the size and the style of home, and then we would look to sort of recommend the architecture that would suit best the land, within the to make sure the economies are there to build. Now, there's two options. I mean, we have our architectural team, back of house team is based here in Bali. We have our main design architect is actually based in Singapore. So there would be an initial consultation if it was for a bespoke design with our architect, brainstorm what can be done on a piece of land, and then ultimately a design proposal would be put together. Or over the years, we've developed some 16 villas, which are largely 2-bedroom villas, but they're modular villas, so they can be expanded, which can be literally bought off plan. So we're very flexible in that. I mean, the whole idea to us is to be able to work very closely with the owners, the investors, their families, to help them, build onto the property that something that is going to be extremely usable for them, and extremely rentable from a returns perspective as well, which I think is very important. We try. Of course, we've got some internal design restrictions. So you can see most of the design language, falls in a certain way. We try to stick within that if possible. But from an interior perspective and a facilities planning perspective, we're quite. It's very flexible, subject to the individual investor's needs.
Great, thanks. Again, do please put your questions into the chat box. You'll see the little box with some lines, probably on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, if it's the sort of default setting for this platform. But whilst we wait to see if there's any more questions coming in, maybe again, Tim, could you expand on the usage that somebody has? From one extreme, I believe they can live in it, to what the other options are in terms of placing it into the rental pool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, because the resorts comprise of many different size villas. So each of our owners has a different requirement, and as sort of things evolve, their requirements change. So the first thing that I would say is, we want to be flexible with each of our investors and our owners to create a usage plan that suits their personal requirements. Yeah. So yes, you're able to have the villa for your own personal use only, and we help manage that villa for you. So it's more of a property management type of structure, and then your friends and family get to use that villa as and when you need it. So we've got some owners that do that. We've got some owners that take 60 days usage per year, and then they put the balance back into the rental pool. But the most standard option for most of our owners is 30-day usage for them, and then the balance put into the rental pool. And then with the onset of Third Home, as a lot of our owners now are members of Third Home, they tend to be expanding the usage days. So they come to the property for maybe 21 days, 3 weeks a year. The rest of the time, they may put 4 weeks or 5 weeks back into Third Home, and then use that to travel to other destinations at other times of the year. So, but I think the key here is flexibility, understanding how we can customize a usage agreement with an owner, an investor that suits their personal needs. And then you're not locked into it forever, right? So what we like to do is, when we get to November, at the end of each year, we would have a discussion with each of our owners, and find out what their usage plan is going to be for the following year. And then we would then adapt any usage, differential usage requirements for them for the following year. The reason we do that is because we're also in the hotel business, guys. And so we need to list the villas for sale on our global distribution platforms. And we are taking reservations, as you can imagine, even for 2025 during the high season today. So we need to make sure that we know when villas are available, when owners are going to be on site, when their friends and family are going to be coming on site.
Thank you there, Tim. I don't see any more questions coming in at the moment. I don't know if we've covered everything or inundated you. So again, if there are any other questions, do so. Otherwise, we will wrap up very soon. But just really, I think as a summary and a takeaway, we can see from these videos and pictures that the South Lombok is just simply a stunning part of the world with, an incredible beach. The resort's set up on a hillside, so it's a cooler temperature. I remember you saying, Tim, in terms of just comfort level and getting away from some of the heat and humidity that we experience in places like here in Singapore. But, an opportunity to have a real gorgeous bolt hole, for want of a better word, here in Southeast Asia, but being able to buy into a resort which is significantly less expensive than an identical kind of resort, if there is such a thing in Bali. So I hope that it's really given those who've attended tonight a good overview. I know there's a couple of people on the call tonight who I've already spoken with who've expressed interest to go in October. And for those who know who I'm speaking about, myself and my team may well be going there in the third week of October. So from somewhere between the 16th to the 22nd of October, the weekend in that week of October is it's Saturday the 21st and Sunday the 22nd, if that happens to be better at the weekends. But any time that you'd like to go, please let us know. But if we can obviously be able to, well, especially for myself, I'd love to be able to meet as many of you as possible. And if that third week of October, whether it's for a week or a few days, we'd love to see you there. I don't see any other questions, so I think what we'll do is we'll wrap up there. We've just gone past the 9 o'clock time, so we've just overshot a little bit, but apologies for the initial challenges of the presentation. But I think once we got it going, you can see again what an absolutely stunning location this is, and a place for a wonderful holiday and to make wonderful memories with your families and friends. Tim, any last closing comments?
No, I think we've said it all. All I would just go on to say is that anytime I spend a lot of time down here. I'm here for 2 weeks a month. We've got a team down here, so if you do decide to come down, avail of the preview package, and come and experience it firsthand. So we look forward to seeing you on property. And again, I'm sure you'll be in touch with Richard, but Richard, if anybody would like to talk to me personally, I'd be very happy, together with yourself, to jump on a call with them and run through an individual private presentation. There's no problem at all.
Great stuff. Lovely. Well, thank you all again for joining in.
Hey, boss. I think Sihao is having a question. He just raised his hand.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yes, Richard. Yeah.
Go on, see Joe. Good to see you. Or good to.
Yeah, I'm Joe. Yeah.
Yes.
I'd like to know how long the construction will be complete. How long it takes to complete for the villas?
It would depend on the type of villa. So basically, if you took one of our pre-designed villas, let's say one of our 2-bedroom ones, it would typically be no longer than 14 or 15 months. It could be quicker. It depends on the piece of land as well. So some of the land is quite steep sloping. So and some of the retaining wall structures depends on your final design. Can add to that. But to build the villa, one of the luxury surf villas, the smaller ones, we can build one of those in and have it operational within 9 months. One of the larger 2-bedroom villas could take 12 to 14 months. Obviously, if it's a much larger villa, I mean, it would be 18 to 20 months, I would think, is typical.
Just now you have mentioned just a plot of land of 99,000. May I know what's the size of the land? The size.
You may, yeah. So, Richard, could you just go back in the presentation? Sorry.
Yes.
I have so many land size numbers in my mind, I always forget. Could you go back to the master?
Yeah. Let me just bear with me one moment.
Sorry, I can show you the piece of land as well.
Got too many screens open now. Here we go. Let me just take it back. You want the
master plan, yeah. That's
the
it, the master plan.
plan.
Slide 32, right?
Yeah, let me just expand that so it's full screen.
So it's that piece of land is I don't know if you can see my cursor. It's this piece of land here, yeah, and it is 500. That piece of land is 536 square meters. It's actually perfectly sized for a two-bedroom, a sort of a small two-bedroom villa. We've got a number of villas. That the lot below it, 5B2 here, is a beautiful two-bedroom villa. One of our most popular ones, actually.
Hey Tim, I think we didn't see the cursor that you have that you were trying to show.
Can you see my cursor? Because I've got it on 5B-1. Can you see my cursor or not?
No,
I can't see.
no, boss.
Okay,
Yeah, I can see.
You can.
it's there's a bigger plot right next to it, 8B, and 5-8B1 is it's almost in the center of the site plan there, or the master plan. Anyway, that gives an indication of.
Sorry, what's the number? What's the number again?
It's 5B1. Yeah, 5B1. It's if you look pretty much in the middle of the master plan, you'll see a plot saying 8B, and it's just to the right of that.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, when we buy the land, is this can we just buy the land without building the villas?
On this property, on this particular property, we don't really allow that. I mean, you don't have to build immediately, but because it's a completed resort, we don't really want construction going on forever. So this really is, if you buy on this particular property, we're looking to start construction probably within 9 months to 12 months after the purchase of the land, absolute maximum time period. We do have another real estate investment property next door, which is more of land banking, where we sold multiple lots, where investors literally just buying the land, they bank the land, and they choose to develop it in the future. So I can get Richard. We can maybe share some of the information on Serengani as well. But those lots on that property start at a lower price. I mean, a decent 100% sea view lot there is going to be starting price of about $65,000 to $70,000.
Okay.
But it's not in a. It's
How about
not
the zone, the prime better location like C5, C6, C7? Is it available for sale? This plot?
Yes. So those lots are the luxury surf villa lots that we showed you. So these products here, right? So the C lot is the 2-bedroom luxury surf villa. So if we scroll to slide 33, Richard. So the 2-bedroom luxury surf villa there. So those are the C lots. But I mean, if you wanted a C lot with a 1-bedroom unit on it, that's very easy for us to do. So
the price 388,000.
Yeah.
Is it included on the land price?
It includes land and build, and it's fully equipped, ready to use villa. So that would include your TV, your knives, your forks, your spoons, your beddings, your towel, everything ready for you to personally use. or for it to go into the rental pool.
What sort of a rental per night are you expecting for these 2 rooms with 2.5 FARPs per night? Yeah.
These villas, today's rates are getting sort of somewhere on. If I took the average rate over the whole seasons here, it's probably plus or minus $320 a night.
It's good price. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, the average rate currently in the whole resort, and we're still very much growing post-COVID, and we have a lot of complicated size villas, is about $385 a night on average. So I mean, Selong is either the first or the second highest performing average rate resort in Lombok. I mean, the only other one that competes with us is the Oberoi, which is on the far northwest of the island.
Yep.
I know, Joe, you're familiar with Lombok. You were there just a few months ago, and if you don't mind,
Yeah, I've been there.
You had your honeymoon
about 3
there
months
as well.
back. Yeah, I went there. Yeah.
Yeah, you had your honeymoon there as well, so it's something that's very close to your heart. I hope you don't mind me sharing that.
Yeah.
It's a great honeymoon spot. We do a lot of weddings on that beautiful lawn. People love it, and then we do wedding on the lawn, and then we go down to the beach and do a beach ceremony, beach barbecues as well. So it's a very popular venue for that.
All right. Thank you, team.
You're most welcome.
Well,
Thanks for the questions there, Joe. Sorry if the chat box wasn't working for you. Let me just see. I've although I think most people probably know me on the call tonight, I've put my email address and telephone number there. So again, just to reinforce, what we'd love to do after this webinar is have a call, or better still, meet up if you're here in Singapore. And if you are thinking seriously about it, again, one of the best ways to be able to make that decision is to take advantage of the package, which will give a 50% discount off the rates. And if you decide to reserve something whilst you're there, then it will be reimbursed fully. I'll be there in the 3rd week of October with some of my team, and we'll be delighted to have some conversations around it over the next week or two, and then hopefully see you in person as well at the resort. So I think, unless there's any other questions, I don't see anything else coming into the chat box. Again, I really appreciate taking time out of your schedule tonight. Hope you've learned something about Lombok and the beautiful resort. And, we'll be in touch. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you,
everybody. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, good night. Bye.